see how this goes. Just checking, making sure everything is working. It's lovely watching swirly circles. Is it working? Is it not? Okay, close that. That's the chat on there. Is it working? Okay, it says it's being live streamed. Sorry if you are with me on YouTube and I'm just sat here. I'm just waiting for confirmation it's doing something. Right, it says it's being live streamed, so let's just have a go, shall we? Yeah, allow that. There we go. Hang on a sec. Let's get that turned off. So, good evening, lovely peoples. I am running an experiment tonight and live streaming from Zoom into YouTube and also on my phone on Facebook Live. So let's see how it goes. I'm just experimenting with lots of different ways to get this content out to my audience and the wider public to get more of an audience, to get this information out where it can help people. So my topic at the moment that I want to talk about today is about limitations and struggling and how we can overcome our limitations by seeing them not as struggles and not as limitations, but as challenges. So I was on a really, really eye-opening, helpful call last night with the Proctor Gallagher Institute, and I spoke to 3 amazing people who helped me to see that 1, I was using the word struggle, and 2, how I could use a different word instead. And they said, instead of the word struggle, what word can you come up with instead? And I instantly said, what came straight into my mind was discovery, or to discover. And then one of the lovely ladies turned around and said, well, I don't call them struggles, I call them challenges. Because if you've got a challenge, it instantly invokes that thought of being able to overcome it. So a challenge is there to be solved. A challenge is something that you can problem solve and find a solution to overcome. A struggle or a limitation sounds like you're being put in a box. So when you think about the things that you feel are holding you back, that you feel you're struggling with, it could be you don't have enough money to do the thing that you want to do. You don't have enough time. You don't have the ability or the skill to do it. They're all limitations. The struggle could be that you are needing to move house and you can't find anywhere new to live, or everywhere you go is already taken, for example. Or it could be that you're looking for a new job and you've put out loads and loads and loads of applications, you've had a couple of interviews, but you're still hearing the word no. So it feels like a struggle because you're not able to bring in the money that you need to live the life that you want to live. So it's a struggle, it's difficult, it feels hard. But if you shift your mindset, you could see that struggle, that hard, as a challenge to overcome instead. And as soon as you see it as a challenge, you can start to problem solve and think, what can I do to solve this problem? It could be, good evening, people joining me on Facebook. This is awesome. And people who are also on YouTube with me. Hello. It could be a struggle to get down to the weight that you want, for example. So you're feeling it's a real struggle. Every time you get close to that weight, you seem to just put it back on. Or you're one of those really, really disciplined people who manage to stick to a diet, lose all the weight, and then a month later, it's back up where it was. And you're like, well, what was the point? That can feel hard. That can feel like a struggle. Shift it to a challenge. I challenge myself to get down to that weight and to stay at that weight. And as soon as, hello, as soon as you get down to that weight, you then challenge yourself to stay there. And then instantly you start thinking of all these ideas of, okay, so how am I going to stay there? It could be that you had to do a real shock to the system to get down to that weight, like really fad diet or loads and loads of exercise or starving yourself. Don't recommend that. Not recommending any health tips or anything here. I'm not qualified to, so don't take them as verbatim. But what will it take to then maintain? It could be that instead of having a biscuit with your cup of tea, very British thing to say, isn't it? Biscuit with your cup of tea. You have one biscuit instead of two, or you only have your biscuit 3 times a week as a treat, or just not every day. It could be that you have a real thing for chocolate. Guilty. You could challenge yourself to only have 1 square a day. I've managed to now get that down to 1 square probably every 2 days or so, depending on how it's been. It was needed today. I was asked to go and spend some time in a reception class today, which normally I would struggle with. But since that call yesterday evening, I went into it as a challenge. Because normally I find reception, so reception is foundation, 4 and 5-year-olds, kindergarten, I think they call it in the States. I find working with the 4, 5-year-olds for a whole day incredibly boring. And I know that sounds weird, but it is so boring. And it was even to the point of I thought it was about break time, which is about 11 o'clock. I looked at my watch and it was 9:05. They only arrive at 9:15. So I thought that 20 minutes had been 2.5 hours. And instantly my mind started going to oh, this is so boring. This is so hard. This is such a struggle. And I went, no, hang on a minute. I'm going to turn that around. I'm going to think, what is the challenge? Why do I find it boring? What can I challenge myself to do to make it more interesting? And I sat and I thought, while they were setting up their little thing that they were doing, a couple of other adults in the room. So it wasn't like I was the only one and just left them to it or anything like that. We don't do that. I was like, how can I make myself not see that this is a struggle? How can I make myself see the challenge in it rather than feeling that it's really hard? And my mind gave me some ideas. They said, so my first one was, I challenge myself to learn all of their names, which is always fun to do because they never tell you the right name when they're that big. Or you say, oh, what's his name over there? And they'll go, like you've been with them for 3 months. You should know their name. So I managed to learn. By the end of the day, I had learned 25 out of 30. Go me. So challenge accepted, challenge done. I also challenged myself to see how many of them I could teach to put their coats on themselves. And there's a really cool way that my daughter was taught and that I used to work with small children during my PGCE when I was doing my teacher training, where you put the coat on the floor. So they're standing like with their hood between their feet and the coat's open on the floor. And they basically put their arms in the sleeves and then put it up over their head. And as gravity then pulls it down, then you help them with their zip. I think I taught 12 of them were able to do it by the end of the day. Challenge accepted. So they're just two examples of how you can turn something that you really don't enjoy doing into a challenge. And it made the day pass a lot quicker. Still not quick enough for my liking, because 4 or 5 year olds this time of year are just, they're green. They're basically green here. And it's like, ugh. And they hang off your arms. And if you sit down, they sit on you. They're great fun though. They're such little characters. They're funny. There's one little lad in the class today, I'm going off on a tangent now, sorry, who was just so cute. He's just got one of those really chubby cheeks and just cute little, very, very little verbal. He wasn't really very talkative, but just the smile, he just made my day. So you find the little things, you find the shifts. Now, back on the subject of limitations, in my mind, with reception children, my limitation is that I can't get them to listen. They don't listen. I'm obviously not strong enough to get them to listen. And you get that when the TAs or the teaching assistants and other adults come in the room and go, you wouldn't be doing that if your teacher was here, would it? Thank you. Person on Facebook's put, oh, I've missed you. You've made mine here. Made my day. You are welcome. But yeah, so I take that as a limitation. I can't get them to listen. They don't see me as the teacher figure. I don't deserve the respect that they would give their normal teacher. And then I go, but that's not my limitation. That's a societal thing where I don't go into schools and start screaming at kids. There's no need. By the end of the day, they were listening. Sit on the carpet. They were sitting on the carpet. Okay, 2 of them weren't, but they don't listen to anybody. And I was reassured that they don't listen to anybody. Lovely kids, but yeah, fun. And through no fault of their own, they are just who they are. But other limitations could be that, like I said, you don't have the money that you need to do the thing that you want to do. And you can see that as a limitation, or you can see it as a challenge. Okay, I want to do, so I'll use an example. When I got married, we decided that the honeymoon should be something one of a kind. And we settled on between snowboarding in Alaska under the Northern Lights, or I basically put my finger on one side of the globe and did that. So I put my finger on England and did that on the other side, and it was the Cook Islands down in the South Pacific. Oh, so we looked into the Cook Islands, and it was a 36-hour journey to get there, because obviously there's no planes go direct. You've got to go to Australia and then jump on another one. And the leg to Australia was like 18 hours. This does not sit still for 18 hours. No, thank you. That sounds like hell on earth. And then like another 2 hours in a airport and then whatever going over to the Cook Islands. So we said, how about we turn it into a round the world trip and do like a couple of stops on the way to the Cook Islands, have Christmas in the Cook Islands, and then go all the way round, as in all the way around the world, and have New Year's in the States. So we started looking at it and we started planning it and we started finding out prices. And in the end, it was going to cost about 11 to 15,000 pounds for 22 days for 2 of us. We didn't have that kind of money. Did that stop us? Do I have a buttload of photos and a written journal and memories and some souvenirs as well? Not sure if I've got any to hand actually. Of our round the world trip. Did we let the fact that we didn't have the money stop us? Nope. I'm still not sure how we got all the money. I know where some of it came from, because we were like 2 months in, we'd booked the deposit, we'd found the company to do it, we'd set the journey, we'd started booking all the accommodation and everything else, and we'd sorted out a payment plan and all this, that, and the other. And any of you in the UK will have heard of PPI. So a PPI claim came in. I didn't even apply for it. I just got a letter one day saying, here, this is the bank. We're giving you £4,000. Because I had an account at some point that had been missold to me. Who knew? Here you go, have 4 grand. Well, that was a big chunk. Then I got my bonus. I was in the Army Reserve. Then my husband got his Army bonus as well. And all of a sudden, before you knew it, the money was there and it was paid for. Did we know where the money was coming from when we signed on the line and booked it and worked out or tried to work out how to find 11 grand in the next 9 months? It just happens. So when you make that decision, when you make that committed decision, I'm doing that, everything you need will suddenly turn up. You do not need to wait to overcome your limitation before you get started. It's the actual getting started, the taking action that gets you to where you want to go. Which is why I'm currently looking at a new place to live. And I'm quite mellow in the fact that what I want will arrive when I want it, how I want it, and everything will fall into place. I don't need to force it. I just need to stay focused on what I want. The fact I haven't got the money, the fact I haven't got this, that, and the other, blah, 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 that's not going to stop me. If I have to rent for a couple of months in the interim, who cares? But I will get what I want because I'm focused on it and I've made the decision, and I'm not going to let any silly limitations bother me. I accept the challenge. So I'm going to leave you with my attitude to the world around limitations and that sort of thing. So many of us, when something comes up, like a big struggle or a big roadblock or a big slammed door in your face, we go, oh, why me? Why me? Why today? Why are you doing this? Thank you, universe. Why me? You instantly go to victim. It's not a good place to be. The next time your mind goes to why me, I want you to shift it. I want you to say, try me. Try me. Not why me, try me. And you instantly get that mental shift into how can I solve this problem? And you go solution focused rather than problem focused. Now, I am going to go and see how to edit these videos so I can get it out further wide and wide. Further wide and wide. It's 10 to 9 here. I'm a bit sleepy. I've been to the gym. I went for a swim. I've been in the spa. I'm a bit, it's lovely. And I'm also overcoming my limitations and my terror barrier of watching myself on video. I'm an introvert. Go figure. But hey, I want to say uber thank yous for joining me if you join me live. I hope this video resonates with you if you are watching it on record. And maybe we'll do this again sometime. Have a lovely rest of your evening. And thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye. Now I've got to work out how to turn it all off. Bye. Right, that's that one. Ooh.